Urquhart Castle is the third most visited castle in Scotland. Lying upon Loch Ness, these ruins have been here since the medieval period. Although this castle is quite beautiful outside, it has a deep history within.
Urquhart was originally a Pictish fort early on around 580 AD and remained peaceful until 1200 when they encountered much military action. In 580 AD, St. Columba visited the Laird of Picts and baptized him under Catholicism. Historians later discovered that the Pictish fort that stood on Urquhart's location was a high-status site, and this was the beginning of a meaningful religious activity at Urquhart, some of which would lead to its destruction. There's not many recorded documents until 1200.
It played a part in the wars of Scottish independence of the 13th century, after which it was used as a royal castle. So it was originally built for royal residency, but it did have a few structures to defend itself, and for a while, it was the only Highland castle to hold out against the English. For thousands of years, Scotland had fought wars against England for freedom and independence. In 1296, Edward I of England invaded and captured Urquhart Castle, which is originally Scottish, and reduced the castle to rubbles.
I'm here with Angus right now. How do you feel?
Fucking cold, wet, ain't having fun. I got blisters on my feet, got a rash on my ass crack I haven't had for 3 days. Ain't slept in a week. Fucking eating haggis and blab pudding. I don't know what to eat down here. It's not fun. I'm cold. I'm freezing.
Urquhart.
It's Urquhart.
Oh,
Urquhart.
Urquhart Castle was captured for many reasons since it.
Your glasses are on your head.
Oh, yeah. Since it sat on Loch Ness, people had access to natural resources and trade routes via water and land. And because they had access to these resources, they were able to generate wealth off of this. Wealth equals power. So, of course, this made the castle an attractive target. Man, your handwriting's awful.
Capturing this castle also gave more military control, and for example, in 1297, William Wallace and Andrew Moray captured Urquhart Castle along with others to control the whole of Moray and Aberdeenshire. This gave them an advantage because it was one of the major strongholds in the Highlands. This would also allow them to assert dominance and act as a symbol of power over the other clans, and this possibly showed off the strength of whichever clan was in control, since it did control such a major region. And historically, these were some of the reasons many other castles were sieged. Urquhart was no different.
In 1306, Urquhart was under Scottish control once more after Robert the Bruce was crowned king. The years following his coronation brought peace for around 50 years, but this peace was short-lived.
After the English threat faded away, a new one had emerged. Okay, there was another Scottish clan called the MacDonalds, and man, these dudes was bad ass. Okay, they had this massive thirst for power and even a cool name. The Lord of Isles. Right? That's a badass name, right? I know.
The MacDonalds seized Urquhart repeatedly in attempts to expand their territories. For years, there was a constant back and forth from the crown and the clan. They rated Urquhart for their artillery, cattle and sheep, furniture and money.
During the 1500s, English King James IV gave Urquhart to the Grant family to restore the tower to rebuild the castle for the family, since it was destroyed from its raids and fights. A group called the Jacobites would attempt to seize Urquhart for control and gain enough power to try to restore the Catholic line. Jacobitism was a political movement in order to restore the Catholic line within the English monarchy. After King James VII fled into exile in 1689, William of Orange and Mary took the throne, and the English obtained the castle once more. However, after both of their deaths, Mary's sister, Anne, took the throne. After 17 attempts of getting an heir to the throne, none of them lived past adolescence. She had the choice to choose King James VII, who was the rightful heir, or a very, very, very distant cousin of hers who was Protestant. And because she was also Protestant, she also chose their distant cousin. This started an upheaval and triggered the Jacobite Revolution.
Jacobites would raid and destroy castles and start rebellions for more than 50 years. Within those 50 years, they tried to seize Urquhart. However, in 1689, the castle was garrisoned for the last time before the Grant family blew it to pieces so the Jacobites couldn't take control.
What's up, gamers? What's up, gamers? Welcome to another vlog video. Today we are going to talk about this castle in Scotland. It's called Urquhart Castle. Man, this thing was so built. It was stacked. It had loot everywhere. It was even so OP that they had to blow it up in order that the Jacobites couldn't take it over. Because this castle, it was PogChamp, man. Yeah, and also today's video is sponsored by Red.
I was actually there when they blew up Urquhart Castle, and I was taking care of my Peppa's wardrobe, and everything is go. I just have to go. I just have to go.
Kerak Castle sits in a desert and on top of dry, rugged mountains in Jordan. Like Urquhart, it was built during the medieval period. Kerak was very significant in the Crusades, which was a series of wars between the Muslim and Christian religions.
So what started the Crusades was the Christians. They wanted the Holy Lands in Israel, but the people that occupied it were Muslims. The Muslims refused to give them up because that's where they lived, of course, and in 1095 the Christians attempted to take them away, but that started the Crusades.
Kerak was originally a Crusader castle and controlled the caravan trade route throughout Egypt and Syria.
This was a huge deal. Controlling Kerak meant that they controlled all the traffic from merchants, pilgrims, and armies that passed by. And it was the largest center of control between Egypt and Syria. And the figure who controlled Kerak Castle was a French knight named Renaud of Chiltillian? I don't know how to say this. After he had gotten out of prison for raiding a town, he married into power.
After Reynold got out of prison, he married into power and controlled Kerak, a Crusader castle. Kind of like me. Once I got out of prison for vehicular manslaughter, I bought a hotel, and now I control the fates of anyone who stays.
He had major conflicts with the Sultan, Saladin, and Saladin despised the Crusaders because it would cut off the communication with Egypt. Renaud was actually the only Christian leader to pursue offensive policies against Saladin. He would raid the caravans traveling near the Sultan's regions of control, and he threatened Muslim pilgrimages towards Mecca.
Caleb, year. Okay. 1183. Any questions so far? Good. Put your hand up. Okay, look. Got the Sultan. You got a castle. Sultan is to take castle, but he doesn't. Because he wants to go down here, take this village first. V for Veronica. X. So what he's going to do, right, he's going to go down here, take everything from her, from the village. Take everything. Takes everything. Comes back up to the castle. Okay. Burns it. Burns that bridge. Throws stones. Hail Mary. Attempt. Hallelujah. Take down the castle. But you got this king. Pay attention. Get off that damn phone. Fucking kids. Got the king. Says you can't be doing this. You gotta stop. You gotta stop, man. Can't be doing it. Can't be doing these wide open passes. You can't be doing this. Can't be doing it. So Sultan comes back. And that's it.
In 1184, Saladin decided to try again and failed once more because the king of Jerusalem sent his army again. But years after, the kingdom of Jerusalem had fallen and the Sultan bombarded the castle for the last time and succeeded because of Renaud's lack of troops. The Muslim army cut off supplies to the castle since the Sultan was under control, and Saladin personally beheaded his worst enemy. Ever since then, Kerak Castle had fallen under the Muslims' hands for the rest of history.
Despite Kerak and Urquhart being across the world from each other, they had so many similarities. They were constructed during a time when castles were important for defending territories and controlling trade routes. Architecturally, they're very similar. They used stone to build the castles, though Urquhart used vitrified stone and Kerak used limestone. This difference was a result of the natural materials around them.
Urquhart lies in the Scottish Highlands and sits in peninsula, surrounded by water from Loch Ness, so it was easier to obtain limestone. Kerak is located in a desert on a cliffside in Jordan, same as Urquhart, easier to make vitrified stone. Thick stone walls provided protection against possible destruction during fights on their routes.
Kerak's architecture resembles Urquhart's because it was a Crusader fortress, which means it was European. So, of course, the Crusaders had a lot of European influence. It also included Arab and Middle Eastern elements because of its location in Jordan. In summary, both castles featured moats, drawbridges, defensive towers, and thick stone walls to protect against attackers. Although Urquhart was originally used for royal residencies, both towers function as defensive structures. Urquhart was captured because of the access to food, resources, and trade routes, as well as Kerak.
Urquhart's main function was to, during the years of independence, to tighten the grip on, the Highlands by retaining lands. It, totally controlled positions in Scotland. Kerak was also designed to, provide a watchful eye over traders and, cool travelers crossing the lands, and to control the trade routes in Egypt and Syria. It was totally a local center of control. The Crusaders had the power to control the caravans too.
Both castles were one of the strongest in their regions because of their authority over the economy and trade routes. They were also used to house their militaries and provide supplies in order to prepare them for future attacks. Urquhart did contain stables, kitchens, and storehouses like Urquhart's. Kerak had also large kitchens, barracks, galleries, and even underground tunnels, possibly used for escaping or resupplying. The reason is unknown.
I'm here at the Urquhart. This little space would provide eggs and fresh meat for the pigeons. It was more like a silo for birds.
Throughout the histories, both castles saw many military engagements as they faced hundreds of years of fighting on their territories. Because of these military engagements, they encountered a change of hands, Urquhart many more times than Kerak.
Due to differences in political affiliation, over hundreds of years, Urquhart was besieged around 8 times, being taken back and forth from the crown, like Edward II and the clan like the MacDonalds and the Grant clan. Some parts of the war may have been religious as well. For example, when Jacobites wanted to restore the Catholic line within the monarchy by sieging Urquhart to gain authority, the Grant family, who were Protestant, did not want that to happen, so they blew up the castle.
Kerak experienced one change of hands due to religious affiliation from the Christians to the Muslims, who had also been fighting for hundreds of years. Kerak's existence is because of religion. The Crusaders wanted power in the Holy Land, which was inhabited by Muslims. Its whole fate was determined by the religious wars. And my dad got me into this documentary, so I know what I'm talking about.
During their change of hands, they both died by the destruction of their castles. Urquhart and Kerak were both under siege by mass destruction under trebuchets and invading armies. Unlike Kerak, Urquhart was blown to pieces by dynamite. Sections of the fortifications and the bridge of Kerak Castle was the only thing destroyed. However, the invasion of Muslim forces caused the permanent change of hands and a turning point in the Crusades.
Both castles are now ruins because of the destruction they faced during the wars.
Thank you for watching this documentary. Make sure to check out this video right here. This is a video YouTube recommends specifically for you. This video right here is the last time we did a deep dive on a history adventure. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you gamers in the next video. Peace!